The socio-cultural upheavals that are taking place in the United States and in Western Europe are none of our business. We do not go there. Someone in Western countries is convinced that the aggressive erasure of entire pages of their own history, reverse discrimination of the majority, is in the interests of minorities, or the demand to abandon the usual understanding of such basic things as mom, dad, family, or even gender difference. These, in their opinion, are the milestones of the movement towards social renewal. I want to emphasize once again that this is their right. We do not go there. We only ask you not to enter our house especially. We have a different point of view, in any case, the overwhelming majority of Russian society, so it will, of course, be more accurate to say a different point of view. We believe that we must rely on our spiritual values, on the historical tradition, on the culture of our multinational people. The adherents of the so-called social progress believe that they bring to humanity some kind of new consciousness, more correct than before. The recipes they offer are not new at all. All this, as it may seem, to someone will seem unexpected. We have already passed it in Russia. We already had it. After the 1917 revolution, the Bolsheviks also announced that they would change the entire customary way, not only political and economic, but also the very idea of what human morality is, the foundations of a healthy society. The destruction of age-old values, faith, relationships between people, up to the complete rejection of the family, it was planting and encouraging denunciations on loved ones. All this was announced as a step of progress. And, by the way, in the world it was widely supported then and was fashionable. The same as today. By the way, the Bolsheviks also showed absolute intolerance to any other opinions. This, in my opinion, should remind us something of what we are seeing now. Looking at what is happening in a number of Western countries, we learn with amazement domestic practices, which, fortunately, we ourselves left, I hope, in the distant past. The struggle for equality and against discrimination turns into aggressive dogmatism on the verge of absurdity when the great authors of the past, such as Shakespeare, are no longer taught in schools and universities. In a number of Western countries, the discussion about the rights of men and women has turned into a perfect phantasmagoria. Look, you will get there before the Bolsheviks proposed not only socializing chickens, but also socializing women. One more step, and you will be there. Zealots of new approaches go so far that they want to abolish these concepts themselves. Those who risk to say that men and women do exist, and this is a biological fact, are almost ostracized. Parent number 1 and parent number 2. Parent of birth instead of mother. Banning the use of the phrase breast milk and replacing it with human milk, so that people who are insecure about their own gender do not get upset. I repeat, this is not new. In the 20s, Soviet cultural traders, the so-called, invented the so-called fictional language, believing that in this way they create a new consciousness and change the value line. When children today are taught from an early age that a boy can easily become a girl and vice versa. In fact, they impose on them the choices they allegedly have. They impose, removing parents from this, forcing the child to make decisions that can break his life. And no one even consults child psychologists. In general, is a child at some age able to make a decision of this kind or not? Calling a spade, this is already just on the verge of a crime against humanity. And everything is under the name and under the banner of progress. Well, somebody likes it, let it do it. I once said that in shaping our approaches, we will be guided by the ideology of healthy conservatism. That was a few years ago, when passions on the international arena had not yet reached their current intensity. Although, of course, we can say that the clouds were gathering even then. Now, when the world is experiencing a structural breakdown, the importance of reasonable conservatism as the basis of political course has increased many times over. It is precisely because of the multiplying risks and dangers, the fragility of the reality around us. Our conservative approach is not a thoughtless protection of the state, not a fear of change or a game of retention, much less being locked in our own shell. This is, first of all, reliance on a time-tested tradition. Preservation and growth of the population. Realism in evaluating yourself and others. Precise alignment of a system of priorities. Correlation of the necessary and the possible. Prudent goal formulation. Fundamental rejection of extremism as a method of action. And, frankly, for the upcoming period of world reconstruction, which may continue for quite a long time and the final design of which is unknown, moderate conservatism, this is the most reasonable line of behavior, at least in my opinion. It will inevitably change, of course. But so far the medical principle do no harm seems to be the most rational. I repeat, for us in Russia these are not speculative postulates, but lessons from our difficult, at times tragic history.